I was just gonna say one of the other attributes of marrying around that age and the so-called prime is Logic made this statement about oatmeal pies, and I think it was very poignant because what he was saying was that when you sacrifice your body or your youth for a man that loves you, he tends to appreciate that sacrifice and appreciate the stretch marks and appreciate because he knows what that
Yes.
entails. So
Yes.
there is something for spending your if you were to look at your beauty and your youth as a life savings, there's something for investing in the relationship with the man during that period that pays a dividend in the long run.
And I would agree with that on the opposite. It's something to preach it. When a woman is there with you through the struggle to get that money, she appreciates it because she went through the struggle, the hustle for you to get that money. Instead of that chick who just came in on that money and now she didn't have to go through the hard sweat and tears. She just showed up at the finish line like, yo, where the money at? You know what I'm saying?
I
So
mean,
they're gonna view that totally
most men,
different.
most men are married to the chick that was there at the beginning. Just saying.
No, 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 not most women, men, because most of y'all not married. So,
And
so some are
I'm saying
waiting.
most. Jesus Christ, Shannon, here you go. Most men that are married
Oh, you didn't
are
say that.
married
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
to the woman that was there at the beginning.
okay, that's not what you said though.
Well, the other thing though too is that just like I guess women women go through a thing too where I'm trying to say this without telling my mom don't care, like feeling as if they gave their youth away to men who didn't deserve it as well.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's, yeah, I mean, and she was married. But when she divorced, that was part of one of her things, is that I know I'm a woman of value. And she was a great mom. And even now, my dad says how he realized that he had a treasure. He couldn't understand it then, because they were young, and he didn't appreciate what he had. But for her, it was a matter of, man, I wasted all of my good years in
Yeah.
this situation. So
Yeah, I mean that we got to talk about that for real because what we need to tell, and we got to start being afraid of the conversation because we have to now, for the young people to understand, we got to give clear instructions. Okay. And the one thing I cannot understand for the life of me, we understand that women, we're symbiotic. We're made for each other, right? So I understand that weakness a woman gets for a man she's really into. We have all inspired that feeling in a woman before, right? So I get it. But I'm gonna have a serious talk with my daughter if she ever ends up in that situation, because it's gonna be like, okay, now you're in the hot seat. This is the part where you can start making mistakes. A man is already, like, if you want to move in with him or something, he's already gonna take your virtue. What else are you gonna give up? Because if this doesn't work out, he can't be the one left with all. He can't take your virtue. He can't take your womb. Can't be make you a baby mother. He can't do
Speak,
all of these
Mikey.
things and then leave you. Right? So it's almost like, look, if you're gonna do that, do your best not to get pregnant. Because I just actually had to tell this to my brother-in-law. He has a girl nobody in the family likes. And everybody like break up with her. I told him one thing. I said, one thing, don't get her pregnant. I don't care how long you with her. You don't get her pregnant, you got a clean break through life. Don't matter how long you stay with her. He's only 22. I said, don't matter. You want to keep the relationship, do not get her pregnant, then you're freaking stuck. And he's like, all right, I got you, dog. I got you, dog. This dude moved to Houston 2 months ago. He got rid of that damn girl. He out here living his best life. He did not get her pregnant. He has no ties like that to her, and he can make a clean break. That is what is holding so many women back. Not only do they give their virtue, their time, a bit of their youth, you tied yourself to this man in a way that other men, for lack of better words, find unattractive. It's not that they find you as a mom unattractive. It's sometimes the total package. Like, I don't want to deal with that nigga. Like, you know what I mean? She's still stressing over it. I don't want most women to have that. It's like when you make a break, make a clean break. No, nothing on me. I don't have any of this.
Let me just say this. It's never a clean break, because let's just say what people don't understand is when you're in relationships and you tie yourself down, women call it a lesson. You either got a lesson or a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And the problem is, let's just say you don't have kids. It's still damage. People be carrying that baggage, that damage to the next relationship, to the next relationship. Some people don't even give a pause in between relationships. They just jump from one, and to get over one, they get on another one. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And by the time you
it's supposed to be you're right. It's supposed to be a lesson, but I mean that's really what it is. It's just you have to be careful. This is why I think when women think that we are, what we usually get charged with is we're not trying to hold men accountable. But what I'm really trying to say is women know your value. Because if you let a man waste your time, he will. If you let a man take your box for free, shit, he will.
He will.
Right? We live in a world where these things are so hard to get. Nobody's going to exercise discipline when it's open, when the box is open. You see what I'm saying? When a girl's giving it up, if it ain't me, it's gonna be another dude showing up at your door, right?
Marcus. Oh, I'm sorry. What did Mr. Let Go say yesterday? Because you was in that chat about determining your value. Who determines your value based on what he said? You remember?
Oh, was it the market?
Yeah. So what he was saying was that as a individual, because somebody asked a question, like they said something along the lines of like women always say you got to love yourself before you love somebody else, and they think it, the guys was just saying that's just a mess or whatever. Mm-hmm. And basically he ends up saying, well, what is loving yourself? And I responded, type something in, but basically part of that loving yourself is knowing your value. And the whole conversation ended up turning into, well, you don't determine your value. The marketplace determines your value. And so I'm like, so what you're saying is you need to rely on somebody else to tell you your value, your worth. If you do that, then you're going to end up in situation after situation after situation. Because you don't have a grounding in who you are and know your value. So you're going to be looking for other people to determine and define that for you.
Y'all were having two different discussions there a little bit.
Okay.
Because you're both right. But what it's saying is that you need to know your worth, because whatever you are, whether you're a woman that exercises discipline, whether you want to make sure you're a virgin, keep your box, like, you don't give your box to anybody. You're not out seen with every man, that type of stuff. There's a part of the market that appreciates that, and that is valued very high. So that's what he's saying. So it's not that, no, these people determine your value. Whatever it is you are, there is a market for it. May it be big or small. And the one thing we know is that if you're out doing those things, being a hoe, it's a big market for you. They're just paying a lot less, right? So y'all were having different conversations.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, like that doesn't make any sense. How are you going to tell?
I got a question. When people say, because somebody in the chat just said, so people overvalue themselves, right?
That's true.
How does that look? Like,
so on that podcast that Marcus was referencing, Sweeney actually, despite fucking it up, he actually asked the most important rebuttal question of the night, the best one. It was genius. He said, what is the average woman doing that what is she doing where she's basically better than the average man? That was the best rebuttal question of the night. So a lot of average women, unfortunately, because of social media, because of who's in their DMs, because of the thirst traps that they're posting, they overvalue themselves because they think that the man they're sleeping with is the man they actually should be dating or marrying.
I see what you're saying. I'm gonna let you know, Oscar. Then I have a point. I'm glad you brought that up, but go ahead.